Hello everyone, Dr. Maiden here with a video that is going to answer all of the questions you are terrified to ask about the dreaded GRE. Okay, so this is more requested content, and guys, just keep it coming. This is the summer of grad school for me, apparently. I love it. Keep it coming. If you have questions you want me to answer, I'm happy to do that. So just comment down below and let me know what questions you have about the grad school process. I'm going to continue along this vein through the end of this month, hopefully, and continue to provide content on this subject area for you guys. First things first, I'll just say the GRE. What is it? It's the exam that you take. In most cases, you're taking this in order to gain entrance to graduate school. So whether that's master's level work, PhD level work, you're most likely going to have to take the GRE. There are 3 parts to the GRE. There's the verbal section, the quantitative section, and the writing section. The scores for verbal and quantitative range between 130 and 170. 130, 170, okay? The score for writing ranges from 0 to 6. 0 to 6. I've got feelings, y'all. I've got feelings. Like, if my feelings for the GRE were a GIF, it would be the Elmo fire of just burn it down, right? I've got feelings about the GRE. I'm gonna try and keep some of those in check, because what I want to be is like, buckle in, kids. It's gonna be a bumpy ride, right? And I'll talk about it. I might get to some of that at the end, but I want this to be a helpful video. And so I actually, because of my feelings, I took to good old social media, and I reached out to friends and colleagues, and said, help me out. Let's make sure we get the best content possible for this video, because I don't want this to be a soapbox rant about my feelings about the GRE. I want this to be helpful. So what I'm doing, I've broken this down into like 4, I think I always have 4, right? Don't I always, like, 4 things, 4 questions to keep in mind. Here we go again, 4 questions to keep in mind that will help frame this out for you. So the first one is like, what do programs want, or how will they evaluate me? So I already told you the score range, right? Verbal and quantitative, 130 to 170, writing 0 to 6. So in some cases, what they might be looking for is a combined score. They might have a threshold for a combined score. So let's say, for example, you got a 150 on your verbal and your quant, and you got a 6 on your writing. Your combined score would be 306, right? 150 plus 150 plus 6, 306. Okay, do we see what I mean there? So combining all of your scores together. In most cases, from the research that I did, a minimum is a 300, a minimum for a combined score. Middle of the road universities said that they were looking for a score between like 310 and 315, if that's what they're doing, is going for a combined score. That's middle of the road universities, from what I could piece out when I was doing some Googling about this. More common, I think, than doing the combined score route is the percentile route. So a lot of universities base your scores on your percentile. So when you get your scores back, you'll not only get that number, 130 to 170, but it will also have a percentile attached to it. And what it means is, like, what percentage of people that also took the GRE scored below you. Okay, so if you are in the 50th percentile, it means half scored above, half scored below. Okay, if you're in the 90th percentile, that means that 90% of people that took the GRE at the same time as you scored below your score. Okay, so some universities, I shouldn't say some, a lot of universities go based on your percentile rather than your combined score. All right, something to take note of as well is that some universities weigh the score of one of the other more than the other. And what you can think about here is like very heavily quant programs, like STEM programs, obviously they're going to care that you have a higher quant score than a verbal score. So you might be able to squeak by with a good quant score and a lower verbal score. Flop that for a program like art history. You can have a really strong essay, the writing section, and a strong verbal section and not get a poopy quant score. And you can get into a really good program. So it can be discipline specific, not even university specific, but discipline specific of the discipline that you're applying to. Could be like, yeah, we're an Ivy, but that's fine for us because we see from all of your other materials, you have a verbal score off the chart. That's okay for us. That's a good fit for us. The thing I'll say about this, about how will they evaluate me and what do they want, is do your research. Do your research of the programs. If they have a minimum, in a lot of cases, they will publicize it. They'll make it clear on the application. You might have to hunt. Sometimes they don't put it like straightforward at the very top of their banner of like, you want to join? Have a 308, right? They might not do that, but there are often places that you can go and kind of ferret out that information. The second question then, because I know this is a burning question for people, is the idea of what is a good score? What's a good score? And it's funny when you search around, a lot of times the first thing they'll say is the good score is the one that gets you in, right? And that's not very helpful, but it is kind of true. It's kind of true with all of the work that I did. I told you I launched this on social media and I said, give me your scores, the good, the bad, the ugly. And that's kind of the thing. The good score is the one that gets you in. And so that can be so frustrating. But I have some better information for you. I have some facts and figures. This is from Kaplan. So Kaplan is a major testing website. They do lots of GRE prep. I feel like they're somewhat of an authority on this compared to just, Emily Maiden spouting her nonsense. Kaplan. What is a good score according to Kaplan? They broke it into 4 tiers. So I'm gonna post the thing here along the side that you can see as I'm chatting. So they have top tier, competitive tier, the good enough tier, and the below average tier. So you can you can pause if you want. Ready? We'll say pause. And you can look at this and just read through, okay? Top tier, competitive, good enough, below average. So obviously top tier, you're looking at scoring in the 90th percentile, if not higher, is going to be top tier, 90th percentile and higher. Competitive, you're looking at being more like 75th percentile and higher with some of these scores. The good enough, and then the below average, okay? Again, though, you need to be thinking in terms of the specific programs that interest you, and they might interpret these differently, okay? So you just need to be aware of that, you might be sitting there feeling like, oh, the score that I have is on this good enough list, but for the university that you want, it's on their competitive list. So then go for it, okay? Question number 3 then, how can I improve my score? There's a lot you can do to improve your score. I cannot stress enough, a lot of universities, even undergrad universities, they will offer prep classes that you can take. Sometimes these are affordable, sometimes not. I would do your homework. I would find one that is reputable, that is affordable. I mean, it can be worth it. If you're looking at your livelihood, it's your whole future. If you have to shell out a little bit of money to do a prep class that's going to teach you how to take the test, I think that can be worth it, right? I think it's worth it. Do a prep class, get the prep books, take practice exams. Take actual exams, take them in the way that they're meant to be taken. So actually do it where you're timing out the sections and giving yourself the breaks and then doing your next section. Practice the exam exactly as it should be done. That is a huge help because there's the psychology of this, of you can improve your score by doing the action repetitively. So taking several practice tests as a way to prepare yourself for your actual test, you can improve your score. I know for myself that I took it the first time, actually took it, paid the money, took it in the room. Oh, I got shit scores. I can't even remember how bad they were, but they were so terrible that I went in again. But I knew, again, the psychology of I'm not a good test taker, not that kind of test. So I knew if I give myself a minute and I go back in, not too long, go back in, Now I've done it, I've gotten my jitters out, go back in, take it again, and my scores were much better. Still not great, but they were better than that first time I took it because I was playing that game of preparing myself better to take it, if that makes sense. So that's the big thing that I want to say, and that was a lot of the feedback that I got from people when I told them about this, that I was doing this video, is they said, it's a game. It's all, the GRE is all a game. It's a mental exercise. Learn to play it. So that's where the prep classes and prep books, it's a hoop you have to jump through. And really all it does at the end of the day is prove that you can jump through that hoop. Okay, so it's a game. Learn how to play it. Which brings us to my potential to get on a soapbox here. Question number 4, does it matter? Does the GRE matter? And here it's a really mixed bag of yes and no. It can matter. It can matter. It can hold you back from getting into the programs that you want to get into. It can matter. But it also can't matter, right? There are a lot of programs that they will stress and say, we don't really look at the GRE all that closely. Yeah, you have to take it. That's a university requirement. But for our program, for our department, we don't really care what your score was. We care more about your other application materials, your essay, the classes that you've had, your CV, right? So I'd say for better, for worse, for PhD especially, PhD level work, it still kind of matters, even though it's crap and everyone knows it's crap. Like, it doesn't signify anything about your ability to excel in your program. It matters because the universities make it matter, right? So the universities will make it matter. They'll set a threshold. And so you have to be able to pass that threshold to get into your program. So in that sense, it matters. It doesn't matter, but it matters if you want to get in. Do we understand what I'm trying to say there, the difference? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't say anything about you. Your score does not say anything about you. Your ability to excel, your ability to do the work, your ability to rise to the top of your cohort, nothing. Nothing. No one cares what your GRE scores as once you've passed the hoop of getting in the door. Okay, so it only matters to get in the door. For MA programs, what I've been really excited to see is just how many of them aren't even doing it anymore. That was really encouraging for me when I threw this out to social media, how many of my friends said, I didn't even have to take it. I didn't take it. Or they said, I applied to multiple programs where I didn't have to take it. That's very encouraging to me, that a lot of programs are foregoing it because they're realizing that it just doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter. It doesn't test anything worth testing. It's, the soapbox is coming, so I'm gonna keep going. But so here's a couple of things that I can say. From the feedback that I got from friends, it kind of separated out into great scores and okay scores. So some of the things that happened to people with great scores, in one case, he was rejected from 11 of the 12 programs that he applied to, even when his scores were like 99th percentile. But he said what he did is he rested on his laurels that he got really good scores. And so he didn't work as hard. He didn't push as hard with his other application materials. He got rejected from 11 of the 12 schools he applied to with 99th percentile scores. It can matter if it can help you if it can balance out otherwise lackluster materials. So if you can have really great scores, it can maybe offset something like, I've got a crap transcript. And then your essay is that third piece that is saying, yeah, let me explain why the transcript was crap. This, that, or the other happened, and then look at my GRE scores. I'm awesome. Okay, so in that sense, it can help you to have great scores if it's balancing something else that might not be as strong in your application package, right? But even with okay scores, so I had a friend that said I was 80th, 49th, and 40th percentile. 40th percentile. He got into one of the top political science programs in the country. Like 40th percentile score, not even 50th. So it's the same thing. Like, I think mine were as, I don't want to be offensive to him, but kind of trash. Like, these are not great scores. And I own it because mine were worse, right? Not great scores, but got into the program I wanted to get into. So it's fine. It doesn't Okay scores can get you in to really, really great programs, especially if you have competitive materials around everything else. Okay? In one example, though, I had a friend that said, look, I was told by my rejected school, later down the line when it came out or whatever, I was told them that the score is what held me back. My okay score is what held me back from admission. I was rejected, and they were open about it, if that was why. So I'm not being helpful, am I? Because I'm being very wishy-washy of it matters, it doesn't, it matters, it doesn't. So here's the last thing I want to say. Those are my 4 questions. Last thing here, the pep talk. I'm throwing a pep talk at you, okay? It's only one piece of your application. It's only one piece of the application. You will have several other pieces. You'll most likely have an essay. You'll have letters of recommendation. You'll have an application which highlights your CV. It's only one piece of your application. Keep that in mind, okay? You are a package. It's not just the score that matters. In my case, I know that's what saved me because my scores were bad. The rest of my package saved me because I really, really put in the work on the essay. I did the work, okay? And I can talk about in future videos what that looks like. The other thing, I've already mentioned it, but I'm going to say it again. I'm going to keep saying it. No matter your score, whether it's good or bad, no matter your score, in my opinion, it says nothing about your ability to thrive, your ability to be competitive, your ability to rise to the top of your field. It says nothing. Nothing. And that was a sentiment shared across everyone that I talked to, across the social media account thing that I did. Everyone was like, it's bullshit. It's bullshit. It says nothing. I had so much fear, so much anxiety, so much imposter syndrome. I was told by people again and again and again that I was never going to get to do what I wanted to do and it was going to hold me back and blah, 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 blah. It says nothing about you. Don't let anyone tell you that those stupid scores say anything about you whatsoever. It is a stupid hoop that you are forced to jump through to get into higher education. It shouldn't be a thing. Like, literally, the only thing it says about you, to me, the only thing your GRE score says about you is it says you had $205 and 3 hours and 45 minutes to spare. That's what it says about you in my book. You had $205 and 3 hours and 45 minutes to spare. And so think about all of the people that in and of itself becomes a barrier to them accessing higher education if they don't have the money to take this test, right? In my case, I was in the privileged position that I took it twice because I knew the first time would be shit and I took it again to raise my scores, right? How privileged am I that I had 8 hours to spare and $410, okay? It says nothing about you. The last thing then, I've already mentioned it, but I'm going to mention it again. This is the hill. I will die on this hill, this soapbox, this hill, whatever you want to call it. Do not let anyone bully you into not applying where you want to apply because of your scores. Do not let anyone challenge you or bully you. You take those shit. I think I told my friend, I said, I took my shit scores and I raised them as a sail and I sailed away into my bright future with them, right? Do not let anyone bully you or make you doubt yourself or challenge you that you can't apply to the schools you want to apply to. That is bullshit. Don't accept it for a second. Apply. Now, if you know your scores are not good enough to get in, that's where don't let someone bully you. Make a plan. Make a plan about how you're going to improve your scores. Do more practice tests, get a tutor, do more books, whatever you have to do. Improve your scores so that you're at the bare minimum to get over that threshold, and then make the rest of your application sing. Do not let anyone bully you, though, and say it's never going to happen. Who do you think you are? You're not good enough. You're never going to qualify. They'll never accept you. That is bullshit, and I won't tolerate it. I will not tolerate it. I will come through this computer and I will fight them for you, okay? It's bullshit and it has to stop. Do not abide a bully, okay? That's my soapbox. That's my hill I'm going to die on. Do not abide a bully. Go forth and thrive. No one cares, and no one's ever going to ask you what your GRE scores were. Just do it. Just do it. Get it over with. Jump through that hoop, and then sail away into your bright future. All right? Have the best day ever.